Good morning, and welcome to this glorious celebration of academic achievement. I am Noel Wilkin, and I have the honor of serving our university as Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. It is my great pleasure to introduce the 18th Chancellor of the University of Mississippi, Dr. Glenn Boyce.
Thank you. Wow. Graduates, I believe this day was ordered just for you. It's an incredible morning. Welcome to the historic Grove and the pinnacle of our academic year. This is such a special day, a day that we all look forward to for the entire year as we recognize the completion of a challenging academic journey by our newest graduates, elevated by love, support, and guidance from the families, friends, faculty, and staff. Today is the day to be celebrated, cherished, and graduates to be remembered forever, forever. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take just a personal moment here because celebrating this class is especially rewarding. For when they were freshmen, they experienced tremendous disruption, both in their personal lives and in their educational journeys toward this day. In 2020, you were sent home over spring break and told not to return. You had to be wondering, what happened to all my dreams and aspirations of a college experience? You returned in the fall to a much different experience, one with masks and social distancing and Zoom as the norm. As a university, our mission narrowed down to just one objective during this period of time: find a way to ensure our students progress to this day. Every decision must be focused on getting them to this day in these chairs, in this grove, at this moment. This magnificent faculty, under the leadership of Provost Wilkin, accepted this challenge with everything they had. I don't even know how to put into words to this faculty what they did in a 2-week period of time and how they turned this university transformationally into a different learning culture and environment in order to keep progressing. Thank you. It'll always be one of the greatest memories of my career, without a doubt. Thank you. Over the course of just a few months, our amazing staff transformed the university into one that could accept students back and where we could weather a global pandemic. So together, we all built the airplane on the runway with no directions. They didn't come in a box. Were we perfect? No, we weren't perfect all the time, but we all hung in there together. We hung in together, and we're here on time, class of 2023. We're here on time, and I'll tell you why we are. I'm going to tell you why we are. We're here because of you, because your grit, your determination, your perseverance. You may never have known this, so I'm about to tell you, you inspired us every single day. We were determined that if you could do it, it was an obligation that we could do it. And together, we hung in there. So for all of us adults out there, and for my generation and generations ahead of me and so on, who worry about the young people of America, and whether the young people of America can grab this great nation and continue to move it forward, rest assured, I'm not worried about it with these graduates in front of us. This is going to be the next great generation of leaders. We're incredibly proud of you. So this is pretty cool, graduates. The first Ole Miss students graduated in 1851. But interestingly enough, I'm told that the first commencement at the University of Mississippi took place in July of 1849, at the end of the university's first academic year. No degrees were conferred. However, in the words of a university historian, the late Dr. David Sansing, that first commencement was a 4-day event surrounding the official program, which included the following: sumptuous banquets, commencement balls, speeches, and a gala celebration. We didn't have graduates until 1851, and there was 15 in total. And today, there's more than 5,000 of you who are graduates. A little bit different university today. Very, very proud of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Christine Powell-Thomas, who will lead us as we sing our national anthem. Would you please stand?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was magnificent. Thank you, Christine. We give thanks for this very special day when we welcome the families and friends of our graduates to campus. Many of you have traveled great distances to see your sons, daughters, spouses, relatives, or friends receive diplomas, and others are joining us by the thousands on live stream. Wherever you may be participating in this ceremony, we know our graduates counted on you in more ways than one. You know, they counted on you for words of encouragement in those late night sometimes calls home. Tears were flowing or the frustration of a difficult week, and they just needed somebody to listen to them. And it was your sympathetic ear that was there. And you reassured them that you believed in them, that you had faith in them. And even though they might not admit it, every now and then when they'd call home, they also needed to hear, "You're better than that. Pick yourself up and let's get moving." Pick yourself up and let's get moving. And of course, they also counted on you mightily when they called home a little sheepishly and said they had spent their limit on their credit card and their debit card was no longer had any cash and the month was half over. So we appreciate that for sure. Most of all, though, above all else, they counted on you for the emotional support that honestly, ladies and gentlemen, only loved ones can provide to us. So graduates, it's our tradition to give you a moment to stand and express your appreciation to all those who loved, encouraged, and supported your years at this university. Would you please stand and show them our gratitude and appreciation? Thank you. The men and women of our faculty have committed their lives to the mission of teaching, research, and service. They have taught, challenged, nurtured, and inspired these graduates while helping them prepare for the future. This faculty is special, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, and I believe their love for students was on full display during the most difficult of all times. Will the faculty please stand and let us show our appreciation? We appreciate the support of the members of the IHL Board of Trustees and our IHL Commissioner, Dr. Alfred Rankins. Now I'm pleased to invite Provost Wilkin back to the podium.
Thank you, Chancellor Boyce. I'm pleased to introduce the distinguished and dedicated platform party who lead the university and joins us to commend our graduates. As I introduce you, please stand and remain standing. I ask that the audience please hold your applause until all are introduced. Mr. Eduardo Prieto, Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management. Ms. Charlotte Parks, Vice Chancellor for Development. Mr. Keith Carter, Vice Chancellor for Intercollegiate Athletics. Mr. Perry Sansing, Associate General Counsel and Special Assistant to the Chancellor for Governmental Affairs. Mr. Jim Zook, Chief Marketing and Communications Officer. Mr. David Wickham, Chief Legal Officer and General Counsel. Ms. Jennifer Simmons, Assistant Provost. Dr. Rich Forget, Associate Provost and Professor of Political Science. Professor Virginia Chavis, Associate Provost, Professor of Art and Art History. Dr. Charlotte Pegues, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Assistant Professor of Leadership and Counselor Education. Dr. Shambhoda Mead, Vice Chancellor for Diversity and Community Engagement. Dr. Josh Gladden, Vice Chancellor for Research and Sponsored Programs. Dr. Stephen Holley, Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance. Dr. Ethel Young Skurlock, Dean of the Sally McDonald Barksdale Honors College and Associate Professor of English and African American Studies. Professor Cecilio Botero, Dean of the University Libraries. Our university leaders joining us on the platform today are Ms. Lila Osmond, Associate Student Body President for the 2022-23 academic year. Mr. Benjamin Salvador, Graduate Student Council President for the 2022-2023 academic year. The remainder of our platform party will be introduced as they come forward to play a role in this ceremony. Will you please express your appreciation to our distinguished platform party? Each year, we award faculty and staff members for their outstanding work with helping students grow through research, creative achievement, teaching, and service. Joining our platform party today are some recipients of our most prestigious awards. These award winners received more formal recognition of their accomplishments at earlier ceremonies. I ask that the award recipients stand and remain standing until all awards are recognized. The Frist Student Service Award recognizes university employees who go above and beyond the call of duty to demonstrate their commitment to helping students thrive during their time at the university. This award is given to faculty member and a staff member who have been selected for their exceptional service to students. I am privileged to introduce to you Dr. Ashleen Williams, Assistant Professor and Senior Barksdale Fellow in the Sally McDonald Barksdale Honors College and this year's winner of the Frist Faculty Award. Blake Adams, Program Manager for the Mississippi Excellence in Teaching Program in the School of Education, and this year's winner of the Frist Staff Award. It's a great privilege for me to also introduce the 2023 recipient of the University of Mississippi's Distinguished Research and Creative Achievement Award, created in 2008. The award is the university's highest honor for our faculty success and outstanding achievement, accomplishment in research, scholarship, and creative activity. This year's recipient is Professor Amy Nezuka-Matatil, Professor of English and Creative Writing. This year, as a part of our honors convocation, the Elsie Hood Outstanding Teacher Award, which is our university's top teaching award, is presented to a member of our faculty. This year, Dr. Jason Ritchie, Associate Professor of Chemistry and Biochemistry, was the recipient of this honor. I'm very pleased to announce to continue this morning's recognition of teaching excellence by introducing the recipient of our newest teaching award, which will add a second award to recognize our top teachers, the St. Amand Outstanding Teaching Award. I am thrilled to share that our inaugural St. Amand Outstanding Teacher Award recipient is Lou Burney, Lecturer in Accountancy Instruction. Please help me congratulate these outstanding award recipients. Earlier this week, our doctoral students were hooded in a separate special ceremony. We asked them to please stand so we may recognize you. Now I'll turn things over to Morgan Whited, Senior Class President, who will make remarks.
Thank you, Provost Wilkin. Good morning, peers, family, faculty, and staff. First of all, on behalf of my classmates in the class of 2023, I'd like to thank you all for being here and for helping us to get here. And to the class of 2023, congratulations. My name is Morgan Whited, and I have the immense honor of serving as your senior class president. That position entails serving on the Chancellor's Standing Committee, in my case, buildings, grounds, and renovations. And they look beautiful this morning, don't they? That did not have much to do with me, but with our world-class landscaping team. And I couldn't be happier to be here with you on the most beautiful campus in America in ESPN's best college town. My other responsibility and my honor as senior class president is to help select and fundraise for the senior class gift to the university. I was fortunate enough to work with our elected senior class vice president, Anna Reese Kuig, and senior class treasurer, Wallace Crane. We canvassed our classmates to find what event they'd most like to see. We went to Honors, to the Grill, to the Grove, and to the library, both of them. We decided to host the second annual Mr. University, which is a competition in the Ford Center during which 10 male students compete for the title of Mr. University in a fun pageant format. 3 judges convened to determine 3 winners: Mr. Congeniality, Mr. Talent, and of course, Mr. University. We reached out to some of the very best gentlemen on this campus, and we extended them the opportunity to take part. They were honored, enthusiastic, and receptive, especially once they heard it was for a good cause. Our stage was graced with juggling student athletes, drumming pharmacists, singers and instrumentalists, and McNugget-munching speed eaters. We sold over $2,500 worth of tickets, and we had a lovely night celebrating our contestants. And as you likely know, not only is the class of 2023 supremely talented in those regards, but we are also NCAA national champions in women's golf and in baseball. Our next task was to decide where to direct our efforts, and for us, that was easy. We decided to honor one of our own. The senior class gift will benefit the Thomas Hayes Mayo Lab Foundation, which is committed to using engaging storytelling to share innovative research and empower students and their families to find joy. It is part of the University of Mississippi's William McGee Institute for Student Wellbeing. We're proud to know that that program and programs like it will serve students for years to come. That's what makes Ole Miss great. It's people. When I travel and I'm out of the country getting acclimated to brusque nods on public transit, I really do yearn for home. For the Rebel Run, for snowball fights in the Grove, for a Swayze dollar dog, and for walks on the square under Christmas lights. There's no better cure for homesickness than a hottie toddy. Fortunately, wherever our professional and personal journeys may take us, the UM network is not just present, but it's also active and strong. There's a pretty good chance we'll run into each other out there in the world. So go and keep making us proud. Class of 2023, we left it better than we found it, and we're better for it. Thank you, Ole Miss. Hotty toddy.
Thank you, Ms. Whited. Mr. Bill Reed is president of the Ole Miss Alumni Association and is from Jackson, Mississippi. Please welcome Mr. Reed.
Good morning. On behalf of the Ole Miss Alumni Association, it is my honor this morning to welcome this diverse and talented group of graduates to the Ole Miss alumni family. And I want to give a special welcome to a group of my peers who are here this weekend to celebrate the 50th anniversary of their graduation. After this ceremony ends and you continue on your life's journey, change inevitably is going to come, but one thing will never, ever change. You will always be a proud alumnus of a great American public university. The words "build your legacy" express a familiar Ole Miss mantra, yet they almost certainly mean different things to different people. To me, they challenge each of you, regardless of your background, to use the education you've received and the relationships you have developed to make a difference in your world. How each of you do that depends on your individual talents and interests. For example, many of you possess great intellect. Others have impressive athletic abilities. Still others, like our last speaker, are born leaders. Whatever your talents may be, I encourage you to use them to improve the lives of others, to foster a better appreciation for the differences among us, and to provide a helping hand to those who need it most. Your education at Ole Miss has prepared you for these important tasks. What remains now is for you to make the effort. As news anchor Tom Brokaw once said, your degree is not a ticket to the good life. Rather, it is a ticket to change the world. To that end, I challenge each of you to be a leader, not a follower, to enjoy and celebrate team effort and success instead of individual accomplishment, to encourage rather than disparage others when they fall short, and simply to treat others the way you want to be treated. In closing, as you celebrate what you've accomplished and contemplate your future, I ask you to remember the words of ethics professor Michael Josephson. Take pride in how far you've come. Have faith in how far you can go. But don't forget to enjoy the journey. Again, congratulations and Godspeed.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. It's now my honor and pleasure to introduce our distinguished commencement speaker, Stephanie Hickman. Ms. Hickman, we're deeply grateful you're speaking at the ceremony today. We're eager to hear what you have to say, and welcome home. Welcome home. To our students and all of our guests, we're so fortunate to hear her story and learn about the legacy she has built. Ms. Hickman's presence here today is also special because she's a member of the Ole Miss family. It's always special when we welcome back our alumni. As president and CEO of Trice Construction Company in Chicago, Stephanie Hickman is a transformational leader. Under her direction, the award-winning company has experienced tremendous growth. Ms. Hickman is originally from Chicago and moved to Shannon, Mississippi, a small town in Lee County, before she entered 9th grade. She enrolled in the University of Mississippi in 1979. We were talking at dinner last night, and little did she know, or I know, that we were classmates here back then, so it was a great reunion. As an undergraduate, she built close-knit friendships with other members of the student community and felt admiration for Lucius Williams, one of the university's first black faculty members and the assistant vice chancellor for academic affairs. Although she transferred and completed her degree at Eastern New Mexico University, she found the error of her ways, and she returned back to finish School of Law right here at the University of Mississippi. As a law student, Ms. Hickman served as a member of the Mississippi Law Journal and the president of the Black Law Students Association. Upon receiving her law degree, she returned to her original hometown of Chicago and began a dynamic and multifaceted career, first working for the National Labor Relations Board. Later, she became a utility executive, establishing a corporate career first in Pittsburgh and then later in Chicago. Ms. Hickman's legacy is characterized by her willingness to take chances, develop relationships, and embrace change. Given these remarkable qualities, she was prepared to apply her leadership and industry experiences to seize a personally meaningful and special opportunity. When her father and uncles decided to retire and close the construction company they started in 1967, Stephanie was ready to step in, she purchased Trice Construction and began her journey of leading the company to what it is today. Under Ms. Hickman's leadership, Trice Construction has transformed from a small residential construction company to an award-winning utility infrastructure contractor. As president and CAO, she has led with self-assurance and expertise and has transcended many traditional barriers in the construction industry. Today, Trice Construction serves Fortune 500 corporations, top 100 general infrastructure contracts, and major public entities. Ms. Hickman's successes have garnered accolades and led to leadership roles. She was named a 2022 Outstanding CEO in Women's Enterprise magazine. She is included among the notable women in construction and design in 2021 by Crane Chicago Business. She's a member of the Economic Club and the Chicago Network. She serves on the board of the Museum of Science and Industry, one of the finest museums in all the nation. She serves on the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce and the Law Alumni Chapter of Ole Miss Alumni Association. We appreciate that service. Thank you. Stephanie Hickman's career demonstrates the accomplishments that can be gained through embracing opportunities, building relationships, and forging momentum. She's not only a distinguished University of Mississippi alumna, she's an inspiration to all aspiring leaders. You too are positioned to tackle whatever comes your way, graduates. My hope is that, like you, Ms. Hickman, we will approach the world with drive, intelligence, confidence in your value, keen pursuit of the opportunities that will arise when we set forth. As you prepare to take the next step in building your legacy, I know you'll be inspired by Stephanie Hickman's words today. Stephanie, we're grateful that you've joined us for this tremendous moment in the life of this beloved university. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, in welcoming Stephanie back to Ole Miss.
Wow. Good morning, graduates of the University of Mississippi. Thank you, Chancellor Boyce, Provost Wilkins, and a special thank you to Dean Susan Duncan of the Law School, University of Mississippi leadership, the deans, President Bill Reed of the Alumni Association, and to all of you gathered here today. I would also like to recognize my dear friend and sorority sister, University Hall of Famer, Rose Jackson Flanoral. She was here at my beginning. It is my honor to stand before you today as we celebrate your achievements and your transition into the next chapter of your lives. So congratulations, class of 2023. It feels like yesterday when I first drove up University Avenue to arrive on this campus and to hit the grove. These trees were a little smaller then because, as Dr. Boyce shared, that was about 44 years ago. And it was 32 years ago that I walked across the stage in Fulton Chapel to receive my law degree. So trust me when I say right about now is the moment when time starts speeding up in your life. So I encourage you to look around, take a deep breath, and just be here in this moment before it's gone. I want to start by acknowledging the hard work that brought each of you to this day. You spent countless hours in classrooms, libraries, labs, and yes, on Zoom. You persevered through late nights of studying, running on no sleep, and you still showed up for the Walk of Champions. You've probably fallen in love at least once, maybe gotten your heart broken, and made friendships that will last a lifetime. All while working to reach this moment that will open doors to new opportunities for decades to come. It's a whole lot of life packed in 4 or maybe 5 years, and you'll never forget it. Of course, today is not just about your own individual success. You are also honoring the sacrifices and support of your families, friends, and mentors who have helped you along the way. Like most of you, I'm also surrounded by the embrace of family and friends, people from all parts of my life, those here in person and those with me in spirit. And like you, I stand here on the shoulders of others. You know, I hear their voices in my ears and the whispers of their names in the breeze that blows through the grove today. Bob and Dorothy Hickman, James and Odelia Trice, Ben Hickman. And here with me today is my personal hero, my 82-year-old mother, Shelby Trice Hickman. Mom. All sons and daughters of Mississippi, just as I am, just as many of you are. Some of you can trace your heritage not just through this state, but through this university. It's common for students at Ole Miss to be able to name generations of their family that sat right here in the Grove. But I was first in my family. At 17, I knew I wanted to become an attorney and that a great school was my first stepping stone. I had full rides to top-notch colleges around the country, including excellent historically black colleges and universities where I would fit right in. Here at Ole Miss, I didn't have a full ride, and I certainly didn't fit right in. In fact, there were fewer than 500 African-American students on a campus of 1,000. But in a sense, that is why I needed to come here. This was 1979, and my high school class was the first that had been integrated from first grade all the way through. Hadn't been that long since James Meredith bravely fought through the courts and through unimaginable circumstances to pursue his right to attend this school and not be rejected because of the color of his skin. Bob, Dorothy, James, Odelia, Ben, and Shelby never had the choice to come here. So I came to Ole Miss for all of them. I never imagined that all these years later, I would be standing here, looking out at this sea of beautifully diverse faces of the class of 2023. When I enrolled in Ole Miss, it was the start of a new chapter in my life. It began a phase when I was frequently and only in any room I entered. I would walk into classrooms and be one of the only African-American students there, often the only African-American woman. And I certainly didn't see any professors who looked like me. Think back to a time when you were the only person of your skin color, the only person of your gender, the only one of your religion, or even the only kid who couldn't afford the right shoes that everybody else had, or you arrived on campus in the wrong car. Those experiences of feeling excluded for who we are or the way we live become core to our identity. They shape our understanding of the world, but they also have a way of toughening us up, whether we like it or not, and making us battle-tested for whatever comes next. They teach us that we can do hard things. So let me tell you the story of my own career, and that story starts not with me, but with two men here in Mississippi in the early 1900s. Back then, my great-grandfather Trice provided labor and equipment to build the first paved roads in North Mississippi. That labor and equipment, well, that was really my great-uncle Albert and a mule, but they got the job done. My great-grandfather was also a second-generation landowner, which was almost unheard of for a black man at that time, and that land remains in our family to this day. Later, his son, my maternal grandfather, was on construction sites every day working for a supply company. Now, on the other side of my family, my great-grandfather Hickman dug wells across his central Mississippi community in Winston County, usually with an auger and a mule, but sometimes he'd substitute his grandsons for the mule. And one of those grandsons is actually here today. If you wave over there, thank you. My paternal grandfather carried on a legacy of construction and even built his own home from the ground up. As we all know, in the early 20th century, that could not have come easy for them. They had to work orders of magnitude harder for the respect they deserved, but they didn't let that stop them. Decades later, my parents were part of the Great Migration, moving north to Chicago in the late 1950s. It was a time of promise in Chicago when Black families found greater opportunities than in the South. But still, it amounted to starting over, which is never easy. My dad and uncles worked construction and started their own business together in 1967, and that was the beginning of Trice Construction. It's hard to overstate the audacity of 4 Black men, 1967, all under the age of 30, with young families, putting everything on the line to start what was then one of the few Black-owned construction companies in Chicago. But they did it. And one of them is here today, my Uncle Oscar. If you wave your hand, 85 years old there. And as a quick side note, his great-grandson, Ty Ward, is graduating today. Where are you, Ty? For 40 years, my uncles and my dad grew Trice into a respectable concrete construction company with an outstanding reputation for quality and service. They toiled in the heat and the cold so I could go to college and later to law school to make my own dreams come true. After all, no one expected a girl would go into construction. Not that my chosen path was easy either. You don't know multitasking until you've had to study for exams and keep your pre-H school son busy in the library. So where's that kid from the law library? There were times when I thought I might not make it, but I did because I wouldn't let myself quit. I'm pretty relentless. And that is my first life lesson that I can share with you today. Never forget that you can do the hard things no matter how daunting they seem. That is what will mold you into a leader. After law school, I worked as a labor attorney before joining corporate America. I had studied, learned, and earned my degrees, passed the bar, and become the thing I've always wanted to be. By 2006, I was a vice president at a Fortune 100 utility company and rising through the ranks. Everything was going according to plan. But there was a little voice that was pushing me to find another adventure. Meanwhile, my father and one of my uncles had passed. And my surviving uncles were starting to think about their exit strategy. As it turned out, that exit strategy was pretty much turning off the lights, closing up shop, and finding a way to get back to Mississippi. Let me ask you a question. How many of you here are drawn to the idea of entrepreneurship? Okay, I see some hands. I like to think that entrepreneurship is a spark that some people have and some don't. There's nothing wrong either way, but if you have it, you know it. Well, I have it. One day I was in a budget meeting and I noticed the line item dollar amount that my employer was spending on concrete. It was a big number. So I asked my colleague if it was a typo. And she said, no, turns out it wasn't. So I thought if my employer was spending that much on concrete, surely there was a market for a concrete company like Trice Construction to keep going and growing. So that very day, I started to plan my own exit. I decided to leave corporate America and acquired the company that had roots more than 4 generations deep in my family, here in the soil of Mississippi, a company with my family name on the mast. I had carried the banner for my family all my life, doing things I knew would make them proud because they had paved the way. And now I had the chance to pick up their legacy and carry it into the future. Would it be hard? No doubt. Would it be an enormous pivot from the plan I'd had since I was 17? Absolutely. But I had learned long ago that life doesn't always follow a straight line. So I acquired Trice Construction from my uncles, and let me tell you, I got the adventure I was looking for. I remember a time when I thought taking the bar exam would be the hardest professional task I'd ever have. Boy, was I wrong. Starting and running a business is infinitely harder. So my assessment on day one went something like this. Excellent reputation, check. Long history, check. Clients, no, none. Staff, none. Revenue, not a penny. Pipeline, non-existent. That was my welcome to the glamorous world of entrepreneurship. I won't lie, sometimes I really wondered what I'd gotten myself into, but I never doubted my choice to continue my family's legacy. I gave Trice a new tagline, making pathways possible. It's a reference to the sidewalks we build, but also to those we had traditionally employed, the returning citizens, the so-called unemployable, who just needed the right opportunity to come along so they could seize it. Some people said to me, how can you just give up a corporate career and start over? Well, I wasn't starting over. I was building. Building on the experiences, the education, and the lessons I had learned along the way. Yes, it took some courage and maybe a little naivete. After all, the best adventures come when you think through only about 90% of the consequences. But it was worth every sleepless night. That was 16 years ago, and today, Trice has transformed from a company that was doing garage slabs and sidewalks and front porch steps to doing projects that my great-grandfathers and even my dad and uncles never could have imagined. As described, we're a self-performing utility infrastructure and concrete contractor, and we have those Fortune 500 companies and top 100 general contractors, and even the city of Chicago among our clients. In 2022, Trice employed more than 150 people across 2 states, and we have prime Tier 1 contracts with all of the major utilities in Illinois and 2 in Missouri. We've worked on projects that have transformed communities. We've built grocery stores and food deserts, a national monument, schools, state-of-the-art fire station, and more. We've also been part of the team building the Obama Presidential Center. It wasn't an instant success, but let's face it, I might have had construction in my DNA, but I still had a million things to learn. And I've made many mistakes. Bad projects that lost money, taking on more work than we should, trying things that we weren't quite ready for. And I've paid for those mistakes, really enough to cover multiple MBAs. It's been hard work, but for me it's been heart work. It's when you accept difficult challenges that you experience the most growth. And the more you pivot in life, the more flexible you become. And that's the second lesson that I'm sharing with you today. If you embrace uncertainty and be prepared to pivot, that will make you an innovator. And now you're graduating, which is one of life's biggest pivots. Some of you today have absolutely no idea what's ahead, and I'd like to speak to you first. It's okay not to know. It's normal not to know, so stop worrying about it. Stop listening to the voices that tell you you're supposed to have a plan. Don't fret about not being one of those people who has found their purpose. Trust me when I say most of your classmates who think they have it all planned out only think they have it all planned out, but don't tell them I said that. I stand here as an example that purpose will find you, even though it might not happen right away. Now, some of you today have your entire lives planned out, or at least the next few chapters. So I want to speak to you now. I applaud your ability to plan. I really do. You will make excellent project managers at Trice Construction, so please apply today. But while I hate to break it to you, I must. your life will not always go according to plan. Was it Mike Tyson who said, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth? Whether it's in your career or love or something else, life will surprise you. You can't know how your story will unfold, and that's a beautiful thing. How limiting would it be to put on blinders to the other parts or the other paths that might catch your eye and lead you on the most wondrous adventure? God, life, the universe, whatever your higher power, that's your co-pilot, and it won't let go of the wheel. So you may as well see where it takes you. Toss out the map. What's the worst that happens? You fail? A wise person once said, the difference between a master and a beginner is that the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. So I know how hard it can be to let go of control, but you can do hard things. Try. My ancestors did difficult things so that I can get up every morning with fire and purpose in my heart. Because I said yes to difficult things, I can look back and see how that pivot 16 years ago was one of the best decisions of my life. Not only has it enabled me and my team to build on my family's legacy, but it has enabled us to provide jobs and create opportunities for families in my community right now. And that brings me to the final life lesson. If you're ever feeling unmoored by the uncertainties of life, there's no better way to ground yourself than through service to others. That is how you become the change makers of the change makers the world needs. Some of my earliest community service was right here at Ole Miss through Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Ski-wee to my AKA sisters out there. I have carried that commitment to service throughout my entire life by working with organizations that address homelessness, through mentoring young people, opening doors to careers in construction, and coaching small business owners as they start and grow. My personal mission statement is demonstrating personal power and possibility. So I strive to be a role model to the young girls who need to know that they too can do this. The more of a difference you make for others, the less time you have to worry about your own path. And meanwhile, your path will unfold right in front of you. Today, you're joining a whole network of alumni who have gone on to make a difference in their communities and beyond. A network of people who have not shied away from the hard things, and as a result, have accomplished great things for their communities and the world. And now, look at your families in the audience, a mix of cultures and backgrounds and ideas, full of pride in your accomplishments. So at the first moment you can, please hug them tight and tell them thank you. They supported you so you would have the precious opportunity to do hard things and to succeed. Many of them sacrificed so you could get the education you needed. So don't hesitate to follow life where the best path leads. Get out there and do the committed service of making your community and the world a better place, a more just place, and a more loving place. I truly believe that if you can do these three things, be brave in the face of challenges, be flexible enough to pivot, and work to better your community, there's nothing, and I mean nothing, that can stop you. You are the leaders of tomorrow. You are the innovators of tomorrow, and you are the change makers of tomorrow. So tell me one thing, class of 2023. Are you ready?
Hell yeah! Damn right!
Ole Miss right there. Thank you and congratulations.
Ms. Hickman, thank you so much for sharing your inspiring story and those valuable insights. We will now confer degrees on all candidates for graduation. All candidates will be presented with their diplomas in individual school ceremonies later this morning, this afternoon, and on Sunday. Before we proceed, I would like to note that today's ceremony includes many scholars who have taken varied paths from undergraduate to graduate students. But a group among you attended the fall convocation ceremony in your first semester on campus, where you received a coin. At that time, it was given to you because it symbolized the beginning of your academic journey at this university, and it served as a challenge coin to remind you of the goal to graduate at this ceremony. We hope that it's been a time of excitement, enlightenment, and challenge. At that fall convocation, you were asked to be mindful of the moment you shared with those seated around you, hearing the same message as you all embarked on this path together. And now you've completed the bookends of the academic journey. We hope you will treasure this coin and everything it symbolizes. May it serve as a reminder for your time here at the University of Mississippi. We thank you for being part of this community of scholars. We would now like to recognize the candidates for degrees by school or college. I will introduce each dean, who will then come forward and present the candidates within their school or college. At this time, I recognize Dr. Lee Cohen, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Professor of Psychology. Dr. Cohen, will you please come forward?
Provost Wilkin, I am pleased to present the candidates for bachelor's degrees in the College of Liberal Arts. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
Professor Susan Duncan, Dean of the School of Law and Professor of Law, please remain standing.
Provost Wilkin, I am pleased to present the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
Dr. Greg Eason, Interim Dean of the School of Engineering, Director of the Mississippi Mineral Resources Institute, and Professor of Geology and Geological Engineering.
Provost Wilkin, I am pleased to present the candidates for degrees in the School of Engineering. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
Dr. David Rock, Dean of the School of Education and Professor of Curriculum and Instruction.
Provost Wilkin, I am pleased to present the candidates for degrees in the School of Education. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
Dr. Donna Strum, Dean of the School of Pharmacy, Executive Director of the Research Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and Professor of Pharmacy Administration.
Provost Wilkin, I am pleased to present the candidates for the degrees in the School of Pharmacy, including the candidates for the Doctor of Pharmacy. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
Dr. Ken Syree, Dean of the School of Business Administration, Frank R. Day, Mississippi Bankers Association Chair of Banking, and Professor of Finance.
Provost Wilkin, I am pleased to present the candidates for degrees in the School of Business Administration. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
The Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Education, Doctor of Arts, Specialist, and Master's degrees are awarded by the Graduate School. And at this time, I will ask Dr. Annette Cluck, Dean of the Graduate School and Professor of Leadership and Counselor Education, to come forward.
Provost Wilkin, I am pleased to present the candidates for the degrees in the Graduate School. Will those candidates please stand and remain standing?
Dr. Mark Wilder, Dean of the Patterson School of Accountancy and KPMG Chair of Accountancy.
Provost Wilkin, I'm pleased to present the candidates for degrees from the Patterson School of Accountancy. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
Dr. Pete Grandjean, Dean of the School of Applied Sciences and Professor of Exercise Science.
Provost Wilkin, I'm pleased to present the candidates for degrees in the School of Applied Sciences. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
Dr. Andrea Hickerson, Dean of the School of Journalism and New Media and Professor of Journalism.
Provost Wilkin, I'm pleased to present the candidates for degrees in the School of Journalism and New Media. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
Dr. Tony Amiter, Associate Provost, Dean of General Studies and Associate Professor of Management and Management Information Systems.
Provost Wilkin, I am pleased to present the candidates for the Bachelor of Multidisciplinary Studies and the Bachelor of University Studies degrees. Will the candidates please stand and remain standing?
Chancellor Boyce, I have the honor to present these candidates who have been recommended by their respective deans and approved by the university faculty for the various university degrees.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I finish this part, we really need to let these graduates know how we feel about them. And to the graduates, the absolute best part of my job, right here, this very moment. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the State Institutions of Higher Learning, the university faculty recommending, I now confer upon each of you the degree to which you are entitled, with all the rights, privileges, immunities, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations to all of you. Let's let them hear it. Please be seated. That's wonderful. Across the world, these ceremonies are referred to as graduation or commencement. You have come to this special place and built a piece of your legacy by completing your work as students at the university. You graduated. You also began the next chapter in your lives. You commenced. Our collective prayer for each of you is a life filled with purpose and passion, good health, an ongoing love of learning, successful, meaningful careers, joy, and a genuine and deep connection with friends, family, and other loved ones. As you go forward in life, I know you'll be outstanding and passionate ambassadors for Ole Miss through your example, continuing your trajectory of accomplishment and fulfilling your dreams in the process. And remember, and this is very, very important, graduates, and this is the absolute truth, that we are always here cheering on your successes and eager to welcome you home whenever you return to the spot that ever calls. Congratulations.
Details of the college and school ceremonies are on the commencement website. Graduation exercises for the University of Mississippi Medical Center will be held at 10 a.m. on Friday, May 26th in the Mississippi Coliseum. For your convenience, several dining options across campus will be open this afternoon. Ms. Catherine Patricia Hoven, who will receive the Master of Music, will lead us in singing the alma mater. The words are printed in the back of your program. Please note, in keeping with the setting of today's ceremony, there will not be a formal recessional. Please come forward and lead us, Ms. Hoven.
When
Way down south in Mississippi, there's a spot that ever calls, where among the hills enfolded stands old alma mater's halls, where the trees lift high their branches to the whispering southern breeze. There old Miss is calling, calling to our hearts' fond memories.
Congratulations, Class 2023. This ceremony would not be complete without asking you one last time. Now that you've graduated and have the world of opportunities at your feet, are you ready? We are adjourned.